Hey everyone, how's it going? So, I am here to talk about 15%. I think a lot of people have a lot of thoughts on it. I think a lot of people have talked about it in the past, but I think right now is finally where I absolutely need something to change with this. And it's because of this new game mode, Rift. I would say overall, I actually think Rift is a pretty interesting and decent game mode. It's difficult, it's really endgame, only meant for super endgame players. I'm not the biggest fan that it only uses fire units and that it'll switch to like only water and only grass or something like that, but like it being a super endgame thing that can give good stuff, I think I'm okay with that overall. But what I'm not okay with is that you can waste energy. So overall, you're going to want to auto Rift, right? No one's going to be manually playing Rift over and over and over and doing 210 runs of that. That's insane. Obviously, Smallgate doesn't expect that either. But the problem comes in with 15%. So if I go in with a run and I use 40 energy right here, so what happens is every time you either leave the fight or your team dies, you lose one chance. Also, you know, the damage stays. So you ideally want to kill this boss eventually in like 1 to 2 runs. And, you know, the more runs you do, it costs 20 energy every single time you repeat it. And then if you lose all 3 of these, then it resets the whole boss, so you've lost 40 energy. So the whole problem is, if you get 15%ed, you could lose 20 energy up to 40 energy from this, and then hell, if you've gone into the boss multiple times, let's say you went to the boss once, and then you did 2 more wins, but then you lose on the final one 3 times or something, or you lost 3 times throughout all your attempts, you just lost all that energy because you don't actually kill the boss. So 15% can actually cost you energy for the first time in Epic 7. Always in the past, if you lose, you get the energy back. And that's how it works in this game mode too. You get the energy back when you lose, but when you fully lose to the boss and it resets, you're not getting that energy back. And Smallgate has said one of the main purposes of 15%, and this is a really stupid idea, let's be honest. They said one of the main purposes is if they didn't have 15%, you would have to lose energy when you lose a fight instead. I don't really understand where the logic is there, but I can show you exactly where they said that. This was a Q&A from years ago. Now, I want you to look at this. So if they remove 15% for PvE, it would make changes to the fundamentals of the game, is what they're saying. Making it very difficult and virtually impossible to change the design of the game itself. And then they say, for example, due to the existence of absolute resistance, that's 15%, from the beginning we designed the game not to consume energy upon failure. In other words, this change won't just affect battle balance, but will also change economic balance. That doesn't make any sense, but that's their reasoning. So what they're essentially saying is that if they remove 15% from PvE, they're going to have to make it so you start losing energy every time you fail. Well, this is the first time where failure is actually causing you to finally lose energy, which apparently goes against that whole design principle. So now what's their excuse? Why does 15% exist in this game mode? If I miss a defense break from haste, it causes me to do an entire other run. That costs 20 extra energy right then and there. And I don't want Smallgate to come out and say, oh, well, you get 54,000 gold and 30 stigma every time you run, so it's actually, you're still getting rewarded, because that's not a reward, that's trash, okay? 20 energy for that is useless. I wipe my ass with that. I'm gonna be honest. It's completely worthless. So they either need to remove 15% or make it some way of you not losing extra energy past a certain point, because I think it's kind of ridiculous that you just get punished for bad RNG in this by actually losing energy for the first time in the game. I don't think there's a single other aspect of this game where anyone has ever lost energy due to being having a slower team or being less efficient or something like that. So I think this is a really huge problem, and Smallgate absolutely has to fix this. I'm fine with this mode being super hard. I'm fine with it being super endgame. I'm even fine with it only requiring 1 element, because it's supposed to be a super endgame thing that you build a team for. The mode lasts 4 to 6 months, so like you're supposed to put a bunch of effort into it and then grind it a bunch. I think I'm kind of okay with that, as opposed to like a small 2-week event or something. I'm just not okay with 15% screwing over my runs. There's so many times where I miss the defense break, or I miss some bleeds, the boss does too much damage, either my team dies and I lose an attempt, or I have to do a whole extra attempt because I didn't do as much damage as previous runs. My team does it in about 3 runs. As I increase my Rift level, and once I get Kane, I should be able to do it in 2 runs. But I just think this is a really huge issue, and Smallgate finally has to address this in some way. They either have to remove 15% from this boss completely, or just make it so you can't lose extra energy. Like maybe your best run ever against the boss is how much energy you'll ever use total. So like if you killed the boss in one run, at least one time, then you would only use 40 energy for every single attempt of ever killing this boss, even if you get unlucky. That's one possible solution. But I just think this is unacceptable. I've done a bunch of runs. I'm currently level Rift Controller 5 level, and there's so many times where it's just getting ridiculous and I'm just missing debuffs because 15% or some other RNG. Not to mention also every time you lose in the first one because you get like 15% or something, I'll just leave because I'm like, okay, well, I want to reset the attempt so I don't get unlucky and something bad happens, I lose all my energy. So then I'll just have to go in 2 more times to use up the 2 remaining chances. So just weird things like that, I think, kind of hurt this game mode, and I think that it's finally time for Smallgate to make a change on this. Please do something about it, because I think it's a little bit unacceptable as it is, and it's really frustrating to me, and I'm sure a lot of other people. There was a post on the subreddit that was saying, like, this 15% in this mode has finally just like brought me over the edge. Like, I'm just so tired of it. Like, I can't stand 15% in this game mode. It's ridiculous, and I think a lot of other people are feeling that way, and I'm sure a lot of you are too. Tell me what you think in the comments though, and thanks a bunch for watching. I hope to see you again next time.